गुड मॉर्निंग फ्रेंड्स। आप सबों का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन। इस वीडियो में बात करेंगे करंट अफेयर से जुड़े हुए महत्वपूर्ण प्रश्न। बने रहिए इस चैनल में, देखते रहिए, सीखते रहिए, आगे बढ़ते रहिए। आई कैन डू इट। तो डेफिनेटली इसके लिए आपको भी कदम से कदम बढ़ाना होगा। ऑल द बेस्ट फॉर योर अपकमिंग एग्जामिनेशन। पहला सवाल आपके स्क्रीन पर है। कंसिडर दी फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू संगीत नाटक अकादमी। संगीत नाटक अकादमी, it is an autonomous body under the Ministry of Culture, whose chairman is appointed by the President of India. Kutiyattam Kendra, Satriya Kendra, Chahu Kendra are some of the component units of academic. Sangeet Natak Academy Fellowship is the highest honor given by the Sangeet Natak Academy without distinction of nationality, race, caste, religion, creed, or sex. Which are the correct? I think you know about that. It's a C1 and 3, because Sangeet Natak Academy is an autonomous body under the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. The chairman of the Sangeet Natak Academy is appointed by the President of India for a year of 5 years. Sangeet Natak Academy has three components, three constituent units, two of these being dance teaching institution. The number one, that is Jawaharlal Nehru Manipur Dance Academy at Imphal, and Kathak Kendra in Delhi. Beside the constituency unit, the academy presently has a five center: Kotiyattam Kendra, Trivendrapuram, for the preserving and the promoting the age-old Sanskrit theatre of Kerala; Kotiyattam Satriya Kendra, Guwahati, for promoting the Satriya tradition of Assam; North Eastern Center, Guwahati, for preserving the traditional and folk performing art tradition of Northeastern India; Northeast Documentation Center, Agartala, for the festival and the field documentation of the Northeast; Chahu Kendra, Chanda Chandanan Kyari, for promoting the Chahu dance of Eastern India. The Sangeet Natak Academy Fellowship is the highest honor given by the Sangeet Natak Academy without distinction of nationality, race, caste, religion, creed, or sex. The criteria restricts any person below the age of 50 to originally or ordinarily to be considered for the honor. Recommendations are received from the current fellows along with the members of the General Council of Academy. Sangeet Natak Academy of Culture Ministry organized vibrant cultural programs at India Gate recently. Coronivia joint work. Coronivia Coronivia joint networks. What is this? It's a agriculture से जुड़ा हुआ है. Coronivia joint work on agriculture KJWA aims to recognize the unique potential of agriculture in tackling climate change. It was established 23rd Conference of the Parties COP in Fiji as a new process to advance the discussion on agriculture in United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change UNFCCC. The joint work will address 6 topics related to soil, nutrient use, water, livestock, method of assessing adaptation, and socio-economic and food security dimension of the climate change across the agriculture sector. India recently strongly objected to discussion under a special UN Framework Convention on Climate Change effort to known as a Coronavia joint work on agriculture. Strongly objected. Consider the following statement with respect to the Election Commissioner of India (EC). Election Commissioner is appointed by the President of India on the recommendation of the three-member body consisting of the Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition, and Speaker. The Constitution has prescribed that only civil servant of the rank of the Cabinet Secretary or the Secretary shall be appointed as a member of the Election Commissioner. member of the election commission. The constitution has not debarred the retiring election commissioners from any further appointment by the government. Only three is the right answer. Power of the appointment of the election commission, the chief election commissioner, and the other election commissioner lies with the President of India under the Article 324, Suppose 2 of the Constitution, which states that the President shall fix the number of the election commissions, election commissioners members in manner he sees fits. The subject to the provisions of any law made by the Parliament. In the absence of any parliamentary law governing the appointment issue, the election commissioners are appointed by the government of the day without pursuing any consultation process. There are no prescribed qualifications for the appointment, although convention dictates that only senior or serving or retired civil servants of the rank of the cabinet secretary or the secretary to the government of India or equivalent rank will be appointed. Constitution has no debarred the retiring election commissioner for any further appointment by the government. Sri Arun Goyal took over as a new election commissioner. With the reference to the National Suicide Prevention Strategy, National Suicide Prevention Strategy consider the following statement. The strategy is in line with the WHO's Southeast Asia region strategy for suicide prevention. National Suicide Prevention Strategies aims to integrate a mental well-being curriculum in all the educational and corporate institutions within the next decade. Which are the correct? I think only A is the right answer. Why? Strategy in line with the WHO Southeast Asia Regional Strategy for Suicide Prevention. The strategy broadly seeks to establish effective surveillance mechanism for suicide within the next 3 years, not next decade, just within 3 years. It aims to stabilize a psycho, psychiatric outpatient department that will provide suicide prevention services through the district mental health program in all districts within the next 5 years. It also seeks to integrate a mental well-being curriculum in all educational institutions within the next 8 years. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare recently announced the National Suicide Prevention Strategy. Consider the following statement with respect to the Ring of Fire. A ring of fire is a direct result of plate tectonic and consists of both convergent and divergent plates boundaries, volcanic eruptions, and earthquakes in the part of the ring and are dependent on eruption and the earthquakes in the other parts of the ring, which are the correct. I think only and only A is the right. Ring of fire is a direct result of plate tectonic, specifically the movement, the collision, the destruction of the lithospheric plate, the Pacific plate under the around the Pacific Ocean. The ring of fire consists of convergent, transport, divergent. It consists of convergent boundary, transform boundary, divergent plates boundaries. The ring of fire is not a single geological structure. Volcanic eruption and earthquake in each part of the ring of fire occur independently of the eruptions and earthquake in other parts of the ring. There was an earthquake recently in Indonesia and ring of fire. Consider the following statement. La Lina sees cooler than the average sea surface temperature in the equatorial Pacific region SST. Sea surface temperature cooler in La Lina phase at the equatorial Pacific region. El Nino causes easterly trade winds change direction to the turn into the westerlies, bringing warm water from the western Pacific towards the America. The phenomenon of welling, where nutrient-rich water rise towards the surface is increasing El Nino, which are the correct. First statement, La Lina. Yes, of course. First is should be the answer. Only and only one and two and one and three. One and two is the right answer because you know about that. La Lina is opposite to El Nino. La Lina is cooler than the average sea temperature, surface temperature in the equatorial Pacific region. Trade winds are stronger than the usual, pushing warm water towards Asia. Normally, easterly trade winds blow from Americas. Normally, easterly trade winds blow from America towards Asia. अमेरिका से एशिया की तरफ बढ़ते हैं towards Asia. Due to the El Nino, they falter and change the direction into westerlies, bring warm water from western Pacific towards the America. The phenomenon of upwelling, where nutrient-rich waters rise towards the surface, reduce under the El Nino. Reduce under El Nino. This is in turn reduce phytoplankton. This the fish that eat phytoplankton is affected, followed by the other organism higher up the food chain. Contact. A new study published in this week by journal Nature Communication finds that climate change is expected to be sudden, strengthen the El Nino and La Nina events by 2030. Red line campaign is a very simple question that is antimicrobial resistant. Under the Red Line campaign, the government of India urges people to not use medicine marked with a red line, vertical line, without a doctor prescription. The campaign is aimed at discouraging unnecessary prescription and over counter sale of antibiotics, causing drug resistance for the several critical diseases including TB, malaria, dengue. Union Ministry of State for Health and Family Welfare, Dr. Something Praveen Pawar will participate in third global high-level meetings ministerial conference on the antimicrobial resistance to be held in Muscat. Consider the following statement with respect to Marg Portal. Marg Portal is a one-stop platform to facilitate navigation and issue advisories in and around the Indian Ocean region. It is a joint initiative of Ministry of Earth Science and Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. Marg Portal. Okay, it's an incorrect question. Nothing incorrect in this. Both are incorrect because Marg Portal, that means mentorship, advisory, assistance, resilience, and growth. Mentorship, assistance, advisory, resilience, and growth is one of the top one-stop platform to facilitate mentorship for the startups across diverse sectors, function, stages, geographics, and background. It is related with startup. Department for Promotion and Industry and Internal Trade (DPIIT) under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry has recently launched a call for startup application for registration on Mark portal, the National Mentorship Program for the India. The portal was launched by recently by DPIIT. Consider the following statement with measles. It is a highly contagious viral disease transmitted via droplets from nose, mouth, throat of infected person. Measles. There is no specific antiviral treatment of measles if develops, but vaccine or preventing at the disease is available. Yes, see the right answer. Both statements are correct. Measles are highly contagious viral disease transmitted via droplets from the nose, mouth, throat, or infected person. It can be cause life-threatening complication including encephalitis as an infection that leads to swelling of the brain, severe diarrhea or dehydration, pneumonia, ear infection, and permanent vision loss. There is no specific antiviral treatment if measles develop. Instead of medication are generally aimed at treating super infections, maintaining good hydration with adequate fluids and pain relief, but the measles vaccine is effective at preventing the disease is exceptionally safe. and is often delivered in the combination with other vaccines. Indian Ministry of Health and Family Welfare was decided has decided to depute three high-level multidisciplinary three-member teams to Ranchi, Jharkhand, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, and Mallapuram, Kerala to take stock of the upsurge in the cases of measles. With the reference to the Ahom kingdom, consider the following. Ahom kingdom was founded by Lachit Borkaphuan Borphukan in 13th century in Brahmaputra Valley. Ahom state depend upon the labor force, and those forced to work for the state were called paikas. Ahoms were able to successfully defeat the Mughals in the Battle of Sarai Ghat. Yes, you know about that. Is the answer is only two and three is right because Ahom kingdom was late medieval kingdom established in 1200 2028 in Brahmaputra Valley in Assam. The dynasty was established by Sukhapa, a son prince of Maungo Mao, present day Yuan, China, who came Assam after the crossing the Patkai Mountains. Ahom created a new state by suppressing the older political system of Bhuiyas. The Ahom state depended upon forced labor. Those forced to work for the state were called paikas. Ahom society was divided into clans, khels. The khels often controlled several villages. In 1615, Ahom kingdom engaged in the first significant conflict with the Mughal Empire. The Mughals conquered the Ahom capital of Ghargaon in 1662 but were defeated in later battles. Finally, during the Battle of Sarai Ghat in 1671, Ahom, led by the Lachit Borphukan, successfully defeated the Mughal. The 3 day long celebration of 400th birth anniversary of Ahom General Lachit Borphukan began in New Delhi. Consider the following statement regarding Agni 3. It is a nuclear capable ballistic missile that has the capability of carrying warhead weighing as much as 15 tons. Agni 3 missile is known as world most accurate strategic ballistic missile of its range class due to the high range of circular error probable. I think B is the right because Agni series of missile constitute the backbone of India's nuclear power, nuclear weapons delivery, which also include the Prithvi short-range ballistic missiles and the fighter aircraft. It has a range of 3,500 kilometers and has a capability of carrying warhead of weighting much 1.5 tons. Due to its high range of the circular error probable, Agni 3 missile is known as the world's most accurate strategic ballistic missile of its range class. The accuracy of the nuclear warhead also provides an opportunity of deploying larger number of nuclear force using less fusion material. India recently tested fire intermediate range ballistic missile Agni 3 from APJ Abdul Kalam Island, Odisha. Consider the following statement with respect to Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana scheme will cover oil seeds, food crops, annual horticulture crops with a uniform premium rate for all season. It covers losses arising out from pre-sowing to the post-sowing period, including localized calamities such as attacks by the wild animals, war, and nuclear risk. The yield estimation system based on the technology, yes, tech, and collection on real time observation and photographs cropic are employed under the scheme? Only three will be the answer. The scheme covers all food grain and oilseed crops, all cereals, millets, pulses, oilseeds crops, and all commercial horticulture crops. The premium differs according to the season. While it is 1.5% for Rabi, 2% for Kharif season, the state may consider providing aid-on coverage for crops lost due to the attack by state may consider state may consider providing an aid-on coverage for the crop loss due to the attack by wild animals wherever the risk is perceived to be the substantial and is identifiable. But losses arising out of war, losses arising out of war, nuclear risks, malicious damages, or other preventable risks shall be excluded. Nuclear war, nuclear risk, malicious damage are preventable. Other preventable risks shall be excluded. Recently introduced weather information and network data system WINDS and yield estimation system based technology tech collection real-time observation photographs cropic are some of the key steps taken. The scheme brings it more efficiently in transparency. Union Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare is open to taking pro-farmer changes in Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana in response to the recent climate crisis and rapid technological advance. Consider the following statement with respect to World Wildlife Conference. World Wildlife Conference. It is the conference of parties of cities convention where all the parties to cities have the right to attend and the vote on all direction a decision. CITES is not legally binding on the parties and does not take the places of national law. Yes, only and only incorrect, correct was only one A. COPs at COP of the sites, also known as the Wildlife Conference, all 184 parties to sites have the right to attend, to put forward proposal for the conference to consider and to vote on all decision. 52 proposals have been put forward so that would affect the regulation on international trade for shark, reptiles, hippos, songbirds, rhinos, 200 trees species, orchid, elephants, turtle, and more. Although the site is legally binding on the party, although this is legally binding, in other words, they have to implement the convention. It does not take the place of national law. It does not take place the national law. Rather, it provides a framework to be respected by each party, which has to adopt its one domestic legislation to ensure that site is implemented at the national level. India's conservation efforts towards tortoise and turtles lauded in the site scope 19 at Panama. Consider the following statement with respect to Central Information Commission. Central Information Commission is a statutory body which acts upon the complaints from those individuals who have not been able to submit information request to a central public information officer or a state public information officer. The members of the CIC are appointed on the recommendation of the committee consisting of the Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha, and the Union Home Minister. The decision of the Central Information Commission are final or binding. I think only and only C is the right answer, 1 and 3. Central Information Commission is a statutory body set up under the Right to Information Act in 2005 under the Government of India to act upon the complaints from those individuals who have not been able to submit information request to the Central Public Information Officer or the State Public Information Officer due to either the officer not have been appointed or because the respective central assistant public information officer or the state assistant public information officer refused to receive the application for the information under the Right to Act Information Act. The commission includes one chief information commissioner and not more than 10 information commissioners who are appointed by the President of India on the recommendation of the committee consisting Prime Minister of Chairperson, Leader of Opposition of Lok Sabha, Union Cabinet Minister to be nominated by the Prime Minister. It's a Union Cabinet Minister nominated by the Prime Minister. The decision of the Central Information Commission are final and are binding under the Section 19 of the Right to Information Act. It's a binding nature. Free trade agreements in India are approved by, of course, by the Union Cabinet. India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement (AI) ICTA needed ratification by the Australian Parliament before its implementation. In India, such pacts are approved by the Union Cabinet. But in Australia, that's a very hard condition. Australia Parliament approved free trade agreement with India. Consider the following statement with respect to Constitution of India. Constitution of India imparts parliamentary supremacy and was adopted by the people with the declaration in its preamble. Article 368 dictates the procedure for the constitutional amendment, and the constitution has had a more than 100 amendments since it was enacted. Yes, of course. Only B is the right. It imparts constitutional imparts the constitutional supremacy, not the parliamentary supremacy, since it was created by the Constitutional Assembly rather than the Parliament, and was adopted by its people with the declaration in its preamble. Parliament cannot override the Constitution. As per Article 368 dictates the procedure for the constitutional amendment. Amendments are addition, variation, repeal of any part of the Constitution by the Parliament. The Constitution has had 105 amendments since it was enacted. Constitution of India was adopted 26 November 1949. कुटिया कोंद कुटिया कोंद कुटिया कुटिया कोंड कोंड तो है भाई उड़ीसा में. कुटिया कोंड्स आर द part PBTG tribal group. कुटिया कोंद tribal groups in the Kalahandi district, Odisha. They live in something. The Kondas worship nature like many other tribal groups in country. Members of the community take turns to protest forest and wildlife that surrounded their houses. Consider the following statement with respect to Gulf Cooperation Council (GCC). Gulf Cooperation Council. It is a political and economic alliance of Middle Eastern countries where all the member states are monarchies. The Supreme Council is the highest authority of the organization, and the presidency rotates periodically among the member states by the voting. Gulf Cooperation Council is currently India's largest trading partner bloc. What? I think first should be eliminated, and D 1 and 3 is the right answer. All are monarchy. Let's see. Gulf Cooperation Council is a political and economic alliance of the six Middle Eastern countries: Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman. All current members of the state are monarchies, including three constitutional monarchies: Qatar, Kuwait, and Bahrain. Two absolute monarchies: Saudi Arabia, Oman, and one federal monarchy: United Arab Emirates, which is composed of seven member states, each of which is an absolute monarchy with its one Amir. Gulf Cooperation Council Supreme Council is composed of the heads of the state of the member state. It is the highest decision making of the GCC setting its vision and goals decision while issue the procedural matter requiring the majority. Each member state has one vote. The presidency rotates based on the alphabetical order of the names of the member states. GCC is currently India's largest trading partner bloc with bilateral trade in financial acquisitions valued at US dollar 154 billion, with exports valued at approximately US dollar 44 billion and imports around 110 billion. Non-oil export of USD. India Gulf Cooperation Council decided to pursue resumption of free trade negotiation agreement negotiation. Answer the following statement with respect to the Periodic Labor Force Survey (PLFS). Periodic Labor Force Survey aims to estimate the key employment and unemployment indicators in the short time interval, the 3 months for the urban areas only. A person is considered to be unemployed if he did not work even for one day during the preceding week but was available for a work under the current weekly status approach. It was launched by the NSSO post 2008 recession crisis, which are the correct about PLFS. I think only and only is the right. You know about that periodic labor force survey was designed with the two major objectives for the measurement of employment and unemployment. What? The first two measures the dynamic in labor force participation and employment status in a short time interval of the 3 months for only the urban areas in the current weekly status. Second was for the both rural and urban areas to measure the labor force estimates on key parameters in both usual status and currently weekly status. In the CWS approach, currently weekly status approach, a person is considered unemployment unemployed if she did not get work even for 1 hour on a one day during a week but sought to or work was available for at least for 1 hour on a day during the period. Considered the Considering the importance of the availability of the labor force data at more frequent time intervals, National Statistic Office NSO launched periodic labor force survey in 2017. India's unemployment rate dipped 7.2% July-September 2022 according to NSO periodic labor force survey. Military exercise associated armed force समन्वय गरुड़ा शक्ति नसीम अल बहर पर्वत प्रहार which are the following pairs are correctly matched. समन्वय is a Garuda Shakti, only and only one pair. Indian Air Force is conducting the annual Joint Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief HADR exercise Samanvay. Indian Air Force from 28 something something Air Force Station Agra. It is a joint training exercise between the Indian Special Forces and Indonesia Garuda Air Force Special Forces. Indian Special Forces and Indonesia Special Forces. It is held at the Sangha Bauna Training. Yeah, exercise is 18 edition something. India Navy's guided missile stealth frigate INS Trikand, offshore patrol vessel INS Sumitra, and maritime patrol aircraft Dornier participated in 13th edition of the Indian Navy Royal Navy or Oman RNO bilateral exercise Nasim Al Bahar. The exercise Parvat Prahar is being conducted by the One Strike Corpus of the Indian Army. Parvat Prahar was a long day exercise of Indian Army. Consider the following statements regarding the gram-negative bacteria. Gram-negative bacteria are enclosed in a protective capsule which helps prevent white blood cells from the ingesting the bacteria. Gram bacteria are classified by the polarity they exhibit after a chemical process called gram staining is used on them, which are incorrect. B is incorrect. Gram negative bacteria are enclosed in a protective capsule. This capsule helps prevent white blood cells from ingesting the bacteria. Under the capsule, gram negative bacteria have an outer membrane that protects them against certain antibiotics, such as penicillin. Gram-negative bacteria are classified by the color they turn after a chemical process called gram staining is used on them. Gram-negative bacteria stain red when this process is used. Gram-positive bacteria stain blue when a stain is applied to them. With the reference to the black corals, consider the following. Black coral. Black corals can be found growing both in shallow waters and down to the depth of over 1,000 meters. They rely on the sun in photosynthesis for energy and also eat teeny zooplankton that are abundant in the deep waters. Black corals. I think it's only and only A will be the answer. Black corals can be found growing both in shallow waters as well as down to the depth over 8,000 meter, and some individual coral can live over 4,000 years. Many of these corals are branched and look like feathers, fans, and bushes, while others are straight like a whip. Unlike unlike their colorful shallow water cousins that rely on the sun and the photosynthesis for energy, black corals are filter feeders and eat teeny zooplankton that are abundant in the deep waters, similar to shallow water corals that build colorful reefs for full of fish. Black corals act as an important habitat where fish and invertebrates feed, hide from predators in what otherwise mostly barren seafloor. Unlike the unlike the unlike their colorful shallow water cousins that rely on the sun and photosynthesis, black corals are filter feeders and eat teeny jute plankton that are abundant in the deep waters, similar to the shallow water corals that build colorful reefs full of fish. Black corals act as an important habitat where fish and invertebrates feed. Scientists discovered the new species of black coral near the Great Barrier Reef. Ix, Ixhuck, Ixhuck, Ixhuck. What is the Ixhuck Navy recently? X Ixhak. That's an anti. It's a survey vessel. Ixhak, the third survey, the third of the four survey vessels project being built by the GRIC and LNT for Indian Navy was launched Katputali, Chennai. Indian Navy launched Hawk, the third of the four survey vessel project at Katpulai in Tamil Nadu, not Katputli. It's Katpulai. Consider the following statement with respect to the Earth Observation Satellite 6, EOS 6. Earth observing mission was placed in the geosynchronous orbit by the PSLV Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. It is expected to provide improved accuracy in daily monitoring of phytoplankton, ocean carbon uptake, harmful algae bloom alerts, and climate studies. Satellite will have the capability to make concurrent measurement of ocean color, sea surface underwater temperature, and sea surface winds. I think only and only B is the right answer. Two. You know about the third generation Indian satellite for monitoring ocean, formerly named as Earth Observation Satellite 6, EOS 6, was launched abroad. The proven launch vehicles, Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, on its 56th flight. Today's launch designated PSLV 65 C54 also accommodated the other small satellites with Oceansat 3. The Oceansat 3 was placed in the polar orbit at the height of the about 740 kilometers above the sea level. OCM team with the high signal tone noise ratio is expected to provide improved accuracy in daily monitoring of the phytoplankton, having wide range of operational and research application including fishery, resources management, ocean carbon uptake, harmful algae bloom, and climate studies. The satellite will have a capability to make concurrent measurement of ocean color, sea surface temperature, sea surface winds, and is expected to provide a great boost to the ocean observing capabilities of the global scientific and operational communities in addressing the ocean decade objectives and challenges. It cannot provide underwater sea temperature. The third generation Indian satellite for monitoring the ocean, formerly named as Earth Observation Satellite 6, was launched today by the Indian Space Research Organization (ISRO) in partnership with the Ministry of Earth Science. Consider the following statement with respect to United Nations Country Team (UNCT). United Nations Country Team (UNCT) exists in the all members countries of the United Nations. United Nations country teams is led by the United Nations Resident Coordinator, who is representative of the UN Secretary General at the regional groups. UNCT includes all the UN entities working on sustainable development, emergency, recovery, and transition in the program's countries. Which are the correct? I think it's a D, only three. United Nations country team exists 132 countries, covering all of the 162 countries where there are the United Nations program. UNCT is led by the UN Resident Coordinator, who is the representative of the UN Secretary General in the given country. The UN Resident Coordinator is the highest ranking representative of the UN development system at the country level. RCs lead UN country teams and coordinate the UN support to the countries in implementing 2030 agenda. UNCT includes all the UN entities working on a sustainable development, emergency recovery, and transition in the program's countries. The UN city ensures interagencies coordination and decision making at the country level. Union Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Sri Bhupender Yadav, addressed the special United Nations country team on the key themes and takeaways from COP27 at the House, UN House today.